to ControlTalk now, your smart buildings podcast. Hit it.
Sarah Tromquist. Welcome to episode 264 of ControlTalk Now, your smart buildings videocast and podcast for the week ending April 29th, 2018. The man, the myth, the legend is lost. He is out doing his Grizzly Adams routine. He's camping in the wilds of North Carolina with his wife Rita and a good friend of his. So it'll be me solo today, but not entirely solo. So what we're going to do on the show today is we've got a compilation of just fantastic interviews we did at the Niagara Summit. If you're a Control Trends watcher, you know Kenny and I covered the summit last week, and we tried to put together just a sort of a different sort of perspective of the Niagara Summit. We got 2 or 3 great systems integrators on there, everybody from Jason Houck to Charlie Gibson to Jim Jancy, and our final interview with Brian Turner, so be sure to go to the end for that because that's spectacular. We also have a couple of distributors on there. Mike Swan from RSD Controls. Joe Chandler from Broudy Precision gives us his take on sales as well as his take on the Niagara Summit. And we have several great vendors that have come onto that, including Contemporary Controls, Active Logics, and a couple of others. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right, here at Stronquist, we're talking to Baggio de Lorenzo. Did I get that right?
Yes, you got it. Biagio.
Biagio is the main guy in electronics, man. You guys are rocking and rolling.
Yes.
Luis is going to show us some new products here in just a minute, but anything you want to say to the Control Trends community?
Yes. Always great to be here at Tritium. Always great to see you guys, the community, learning everything. And, we take your ideas and we're trying to put them into a product. That's why we're here.
Very, very cool. Well, look, Neptronics does good stuff, so glad to see you at the show, man. Good to catch up with you.
Have a good summit. Thank you.
Biagio! At the heart of it, you got great technology, you got distributors, you got great vendors, but at the heart of it, you have great systems integrators, and we're dealing with one of the greats right here, Jim Jancy from Rennick Brothers in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I understand you got everything going for you, but you don't have a good distributor. Is that true?
Hey, DMS Controls out of Pittsburgh takes very good care of us. A good outfit.
Well said, Jim. All right. Well, no, I'm especially proud here to be in this interview too. Jim Jancy and I go back to 1993, a meeting at Honeywell, back when he turned me on to his Toshiba computer because I didn't even know what the heck the laptop was. And since then, we put in a whole lot of systems and a whole lot of territory around Western Pennsylvania. But Jim, this is 2018, and we came, the first one was in Orlando, I think 2008 maybe.
2008, yeah.
But what did you see at this summit that caught your attention and really made it worthwhile?
Well, the industry's really moving quick, and it's changing so fast, and we're getting away from the proprietary systems, and everything's opening up. It's going to be mobile phone applications are the thing, and everybody has a phone. Saw some good stuff, some innovation from Forest Rock. I stopped over there.
Great.
The Honeywell booth has come up with some really great ideas. I see that they got a C-bus interface coming from I think it's Germany. No, it's not an Optus.
Oh,
it's bringing C-bus in and pump.
It's a Honeywell product.
It's a Honeywell product, and it's punching out on the 485 MSTP. Interesting products, and it helps you with legacy changeovers because there's a lot of legacy systems out there that there aren't. It's not just a tear out and replace market. Because if you can use it and add to it is the key.
All right, well, this is, again, Control Trends community, the systems integrators in this country. Everybody has a regionally, a good one. The Rennick Brothers out of Western Pennsylvania are a top choice, specialize in Honeywell and Vicon. And you guys recently made a significant investment to security, haven't you?
We have. I've sent 2 guys down to enterprise training. We are doing a fairly large application for the Carpenters Union in our area, and they seem to really like the whole integration platform and the openness of it, and
We have to give Pat Butler a special shout out to Pat Butler.
Pat.
Yeah. All right, there.
So, Jim, I tell you what, one of the things that I heard a statement not long ago, which is status quo, basically, and the changes that are going on in this marketplace mean you're dead. You've been a successful integrator for a long time. What are some of the things that, I think it's an additive thing. I don't think it's like, well, we'll just do less. I think you have to do what you were doing before, plus you have to do more to succeed in this market. For integrators out there that listen to Control Talk, what are some of the things you guys just sort of realize, hey, we're going to have to start doing this or we're not going to survive?
You're going to always kind of review your model, what you're doing, how you're going to market. It's a dynamic, changing market, and you got to stay on top of it. And education, training is very important. These trade shows bring a lot of information to you that kind of makes the wheels turn, makes you think about. As he said it earlier, first day, think outside the box. I know everybody uses that terminology, but it's true. You really feel it here, and it helps kick that mode of creativity in. And you got to be creative, because your competition, that's what separates you from your competition.
Well said.
Even though I know you're a great deal younger than Kenny, you probably have seen a lot of changes like we have. But my comment is, it's not that we haven't experienced change before in the industry, but just the rate of change is like something we've never seen. Agree or disagree?
I totally agree. It's lightning fast anymore. I learned with pneumatics, and I started back in that generation. And to stay on top of it, you've got to be out there and you've got to learn, because if you don't, it's going to fly by you.
Yeah. So as one of Kenny's Chinese proverbs is, with great chaos comes great opportunity. And I tell you what, if you're in Pennsylvania, you got to check these guys out, because this guy is the chaos master. We had dinner with him last night, drinks with him last night. Trust me, he can handle anything.
Be the disruptor.
All right, Jeff, thanks a lot, man.
We're talking a lot about the roles distributors play. We're in the midst of a conference where there's just tons and tons of change going on. A lot of people putting their head in the sand and going the other way, but you and I have contended for a long time with all this change. The distributors, if they sort of step up to the plate, can become the key link and can really benefit from this. And we got one of the most creative guys right here, Joe Chandler from Broudy Precision. Joe, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk to us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we're hoping you're going to give us a couple of your secrets, because you're really an innovative guy, I think, man. So first of all, Joe, talk about what you do, because obviously, it seems like, I know back when I was on the road all the time, I wanted to be memorable, right? So if everybody else was dressing up, I'd wear a t-shirt, right? If everybody else was dressed down, I'd wear a coat and tie. And it seems like maybe you sort of adopted that philosophy too.
Yeah, that's true. I usually lead in with my business card, which I market this on everything. I got golf balls, I've got baby onesies, I've got coffee mugs, I got sneakers, I got a watch. So
no, hang on a second, because you think about the brilliance of that. So you got a small kid, and you change that kid's diaper, and you got him wearing a picture of you on there. And was it true that the slogan was with the diapers with your pictures on it? If I'll do this, I'll do anything for you.
It is now. It's funny, when my customers, any of them have babies, especially obviously the new young guys, they get a baby onesie, and it's pretty memorable and it's useful.
with your picture on it.
With my picture.
Well,
Oh yeah.
I wanted to clarify too that Joe Chandler is famous because every time he goes to a meeting, he's wearing a tie.
Always wear a tie.
That's his principle, because if he has a tie, then he's in the mental game. He's got his business face on and business dress on. But Joe, tell us a little bit what you do. Broudy's a very well recognized name. You guys got everything from training to distribution. So tell us a little bit more about Broudy.
Yeah, we are a HVAC controls distributor. We primarily focus, though, on the solutions more than the product. So our goal is to make our contractors better, and in turn they're going to sell more products, but it's a solution-based environment, and that goes beyond product. We've helped guys get health insurance for their companies. We've helped guys figure out how to interview their own potential employees, and those kinds of things becomes a partnership, which then stretches out so that it's much harder just to lose a guy on a price-based solution.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, that was a big thing the factories were doing for us back in the day, where the Honeywells and Johnsons thought if they could help us become better business people and learn marketing better, and just help train the sales personnel that we had, it would make us better distributors, not only more loyal but more capable of selling more control. So it's a great
100%.
concept. So the CGNA too. You also are members of CGNA. Tell us about your experience with CGNA.
I found that my experience directly is kind of revolves around what this is going through. I'm slightly younger than you two, but the peer part of it, the biggest thing I found with CGNA is the fact that guys like you and Dave and Dave Godfrey, all those guys are willing to share with the next generation. It's not a possessive, I learned this and you're going to have to learn it yourself. This was, I will help you any way you can, call me anytime you need
Best
me.
practices and stuff.
And those things have been invaluable, which has helped me, like I said, even with my own customer base. I tell the story of Eric here with one of my customers when he interviews people. And I was at a CGNA conference, and Eric said when he goes into a new customer, he asks about, the one question he goes, tell me about where you're buying now. I've heard great things. Tell me why you like it.
Yeah.
And I've transformed that to guys interviewing other guys.
Yeah.
You're going to hire somebody that's working for another contractor. You tell me what you like about them,
Right.
so you understand what their expectations are, and it makes that interview go. The interview's directed. Compliment the existing contractor. Obviously, the guy's there for a reason, but now you understand what drives and motivates that particular guy to why he's working.
Well, I tell you what, Joe, it's we're going to do some sales sequence now, because I tell you one reason we're so glad you came on with us is because at the end of the day, you have all this great technology, but somebody still has to go out and sell it and get somebody to take action. And sales to me is the easiest job in the world to do poorly, and the most difficult job in the world to do correctly, because if somebody feels like nobody wants to be sold anything, so really what you got to do is you got to help them buy, right? And that's it. So what Joe's alluding to is, if you go into, like I'll use an industrial example. We go in and we compete with a company called Rosemont. We sold Honeywell transmitters. Rosemont was entrenched. Conventional wisdom guy goes in. We have Rosemont, and they go, well, let me tell you why ours is better. Okay. And so what you do is you're basically creating resistance there. So what I would always do is, because obviously somebody made a decision to do that, so you don't want to challenge them on that. You never want to challenge anybody. So I go, I hear great things about Rosemont, Joe. I don't know a lot about him. Tell me about him, man. I hear great things about him. What do you like about him? And then you'll tell me about it. Well, how did you wind up getting him? Maybe it was your decision. Maybe it was 4 or 5 things down the line. And as long as you're rewarding their good decisions, and I'm genuinely curious about it, and then at some point in time you can just say, well, is there anything they're not doing that will work? And here's another sales trip. You can always play for number 2. So typically they're standardized. So I go, okay, well, who's your backup vendor? We don't have one. I go, look, I know Rosemont's great, but in the world we live in, I mean, what if you can't get delivery? What if you can't, whatever, they go on strike? What could I do to be your second vendor, your backup vendor?
Hey, Joe, you're going to have to pay money for this.
Yeah.
This is a consultant.
I've asked Eric to do this for me.
But you can always get number 2, right? Because they never have a number 2.
That's good stuff.
And so then from there you kind of go, well, yeah, you can be my number 2. I say, look, Joe, if I'm going to do that, in fairness to you, the last thing you want to be doing is trying a new product when you have a shutdown. So what I'd propose, let's buy a demo unit so you can put one in at your convenience when there's no pressure. We'll come in and do the training, train your people how to set it up. Otherwise, I'm not. See, the other thing you got to be one is got to be one to back away. So they go, that's not going to work. But Joe, that's not going to work for me. If you're not willing to invest a couple hours, then I got to move on down the road. I'll be somebody else's number 1 or number 2. So, So that was it. But I want to hear some of your. Let's give the community a little thing, because we all hear this. Joe, love to do business. Your price is too high. How do you handle that?
If it's strictly a price-related thing, we investigate. All right, are we so far off that it's impossible to come to a reasonable conclusion? But the other thing that we do is that we explain to them kind of what our business model is and what else we do. The one thing I'll tell you is my leading line, especially when it's a new customer potential, I tell them, give me the opportunity. Give me the opportunity. If you don't buy from me, that's my problem.
Yeah.
I failed you. So it's not a personal thing, but I'm confident that when they do business with me and the way that I do business, and a history of success, they are going to see, wow, you do it differently. And I tell guys, I care. I'm up in the middle of the night worrying about my customers, not losing them, but the jobs they're on and the things that they need to succeed with. And I care as much, I want to be their partner. I do not want to be just
Another
a place.
vendor. Yeah,
No.
yeah, exactly.
Very good stuff.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Well, I'll give you guys a great line. If they say your price is too high, I like to say, hey Joe, is price everything?
No.
Okay. If they say yes, I say, well, that's good, because if they say yes, I say, great. If you ever need a vasectomy, I got a friend, he'll do it very inexpensively. He uses a hammer and a nail. It hurts like hell, but he'll be a hell of a lot less expensive than it
Well, the line that I usually use are when guys tell me that, well, I can get it cheaper. And I go to them, I go, as a contractor, do you go into your end user and say, buy from me, I'm the cheapest guy? And they go, no. And I go, do you offer services that competitors don't? Of course I do. Well, that's me too.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. So you're going to find a guy working out of his garage from his house, and he has the overhead of himself. He's going to be less expensive than you.
Yeah.
But you don't sell that way, and neither can I. I cannot sell on buy from me, I'm the cheapest.
All right, Joe, man, how do people get a hold of you guys?
Call me on my cell. No.
No. How do people in Pennsylvania,
Hey.
New Jersey, how do people in your
The
territory?
Philadelphia market.
Yes, thank you, Joe.
We are obviously on the web, BroudyPrecision.com. That's Broudy. But if you don't know us by now, you're not doing a good job. So hopefully you know us soon.
And if you got any small children at home and you want some diapers with Joe's picture on it, just reach out to Joe.
Yeah.
Reach out to us. We're doing control trends, man. Joe, thanks so much, buddy.
I have with me a very special guest, Charlie Gibson from Castro Technical Services out of West Virginia. Charlie, welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Ken. My name's Charlie Gibson, obviously from Charleston, West Virginia, and work for a company called Castro Technical Services. We do Vicon systems integrations. We're Honeywell Webb's contractor. I started out as a technician and worked my way up. I'm currently the BAS manager. We do a lot of just customer direct integration work, integrating to Train, Johnson, Carrier, and staying busy doing that sort of thing.
Well, Charlie, so then you came out of here, Charleston, West Virginia. I know you came with your family, and you get an opportunity to see a lot of things at the show. What is the biggest takeaways that you can take back to Charleston that are meaningful to you from the Niagara Summit?
One of the things that I really like about the Niagara system in general is just the openness. I like where everything's going open. The ability to work with so many other different types of controls, integrate them all together under one framework, and leave that for a customer to be their choice on who works on it. I like the Edge a device they come out with, Edge 10. That's a really nice device, and a lot of the other new technologies that for analytics and things that they're doing. It's all real exciting stuff, right?
What did you think of the breakout speaker? What did you think of the first day, the speaker? I'm sorry. Charlie, what did you think of day one, the keynote speaker, Jim Bland? What did you take away anything there from his presentation?
Yeah, he did a really good job. I really liked a lot of what he had to say. Thinking outside the box, I really thought that was pretty neat. And the guy this morning, I thought really nailed it. With his 5 points that he brought out.
Judo.
The judo, and so that's definitely something to take back to our company in Charleston and express to them, and see if we can't start thinking a little bit more outside the box and attacking some of these problems we come up with.
Well, Charlie, that's awesome. Thank you very much for the visit, and we'll see you in Charleston.
How do people get hold of you? I'm here with one of my favorite people, Angie Jarvis, and she's got a friend she's going to introduce. So,
Yes.
Angie?
This is our great engineer, Henry Smith, one of our fantastic engineers at Functional Devices. We have a brand new product that we released last week that he's going to tell you about.
Wait a minute. Will the Control Trends community be the first people to get the inside scoop on this then?
They will be the first ones to get the inside
All right.
scoop
This is
on
an
this.
exclusive Control Trends. All right, Henry. What do we have, buddy? You can hold the mic.
So we've added a new software feature to our BACnet analog input device. It has its own logic function that allows you to input an analog input, whether it be a 0 to 5, 0 to 10 volt, or a T2 or T3 thermistor. and that input is then compared to the set point and differential the user sets, and it will command the binary output on or off depending on if you're above or below that set point and differential. So it could act as a type of a thermostat function that the user can set up, and it will work even if the network goes down. So it could kind of act in a standalone situation or as a backup.
Very, very, very cool. Because, if you think about it, at the end of the day, I mean, we got all this great technology with Niagara, all the software, the front end stuff. But at the end of the day, you got to have things like wire, and you got to have peripheral devices. And for Angie, for our listeners out there who maybe don't know what functional devices do, tell me about functional devices. And if you don't know, put it relay in a box is one of the key products. So.
Absolutely. So the company's functional devices. Product is Relay in a Box. We are actually coming up on our 50th anniversary in 2019, so we're super excited about that. But we do a lot of great peripherals. We are made in the U.S. We do relays, current sensors, power supplies. We've got a lot of great power supplies, some specialty peripheral devices such as the backnet relay that Henry was telling you about a little bit ago. We have some specific air handling unit boards that will assist in your efforts. And then we are also getting ready to release our brand new DIN rail mount relay. We are pending UL approval, but we're very excited to have this in our offering now to just help out everybody in their panel making. So this will be a 10 amp relay with 10 to 30 AC, DC. We'll have a 24 volt version, also one with HOA and an optional current sensor. So
This is really cool stuff. So functionaldevices.com, they won several Control Trends Awards, sponsors of the Control Trends Awards, but there has been a little drama at Niagara 2018 regarding Angie Jarvis. Security had to be called. It seems that one of the customers here had a crush on Angie Jarvis, had not seen her since high school, saw her, confessed his love for her again, wouldn't go away. We had to call security. As a matter of fact, that's why Ken Smyers is not here. You had to help escort this gentleman off the premise. So the Niagara Summit has all kinds of great stuff, including a little love twist. So do you want to make any comments about this? What are you looking at Henry for? Henry's not the guy.
I have no comment.
All right.
I would like to be excluded from this narrative.
Okay, well, good. So there you go. Angie Jarvis, controls person, high school heartbreaker. You have it there. Functionaldevices.com. Check them out. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
The top master systems integrators on the planet, Jason Houck from Hepta Systems. Jason, man, thanks for taking a few minutes to speak with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. The energy at the summit's great. Yesterday, I had the joy of being on a panel with Scott Cochran and Brian Oswald and Brian Turner, other MSIs in the industry, and really greatly receptive.
Well, let's talk about it, because Kenny and I couldn't even get in, man. There were people lined up down the hallway. You couldn't even get in. There was standing room only in the room. Fire marshal came in and said, you might be master systems integrators, but you hadn't integrated the security enough. We can put more people in this room than it's designed for. But so what are the key takeaways for our community out there that are integrators or master systems integrators? What were some of the key points you guys had on yesterday? And you can hold the mic if you want to, too. So.
Yeah, so some of the key things that we suggested and as a panel brought to light was, as an MSI or even a system integrator, if you're a system integrator today, don't go into things with the expectations that you have to turnkey everything, right? Go into it with the fact that you can collaborate with somebody. Go into it that, you're not going to be the one-stop shop. And that was the same thing that Brian and we all said, right? It takes lots of years and a big team to be able to call yourself an MSI and to be able to go in and talk to all those systems and do the proper UI design and pull the data.
Right. So are you trying to tell me that Hillary Clinton had it right? It takes a village.
Oh dear. Cut. Jason, it's an amazing thing because we had a great speaker and he talked about the judo flipping, and how you got to come in with innovation and change. And in a short period of, let's say, 3 years, we've seen the concept of the Master Systems Integrator emerge. It came in at Realcomm IBCon. You guys won an award. And I think that's where you caught our eye. And I thought, everybody needs to take that message back to their own individual markets. And you said, like, collaboration. I mean, there are business opportunities that the typical business models now walk away from because they can't integrate security. They can't integrate the elevators. They can't integrate the lights. They really don't want to touch anything outside your sweet spot. And what we've seen from the user-driven requirements is they want to talk with one local contractor the one that's really truly going to come in and day out and service it in 24 hours. So if the hospital OR goes down, these guys will be there in 30 minutes. So what you're affording these folks in their various regions across the country, because I know you're busy in the Southeast, I know you're busy. You've been busy in Western Pennsylvania, and I know that you are able to support people in various capacities. But the bottom line is that your services give these businesses an opportunity to expand their business models, take the support of a very competent, recognized company to include the panel shop, and then after the work's done, the integration's complete, punch list is solved, these guys maintain the service work, so there's really no negative consequence.
Yeah, exactly. We're looking to come in and support on the project and throughout the life of the project for them, that if there is deficiencies or add-ons or, hey, we want to now pull in this or that, then we're there. But the day-to-day boots on the ground is the local contractor. And they're the ones that are championing the solutions and talking to the customer and really becoming that solution provider. But one of the things yesterday is what is an MSI, right? And what's it going to look like? And we said, an MSI is going to be whatever the customer wants tomorrow, right? And you got to be able to adapt with IT and software development and stuff to be able to deliver that. So,
well, speaking about the IT and the OT, one of the best explanations I've ever heard about that. Tell us what the IT versus the OT and how Hepta Systems and the panel shop can really bring expertise in from that OT side, where the contractor might be weak.
Yeah. So the operational technologies, or the OT, or the IT, information technologies. IT is strictly business-based, right? That's where your HR is, your business processes, everything to do with business. We always suggest to keep those two networks separate, right? Because you don't want to have a situation where your lighting contractor somehow gets on to a VPN gateway and now is affecting your day-to-day business. So we always suggest using a technology that separates those two. Whether it's a TOSI box or Iodium or even an Optigo separate network. We have a full in-house IT department that can help out with all of those solutions.
Well, and I think that the really cool thing is it's like we are in a state of change. Kenny and I have been around for a long time, a state of change, I should say. And it's not that we haven't seen change in the past, but it's just happening so rapidly. And, sort of keeping up, just to get enough people in to be able to do the work that's required is damn near impossible. You guys know this. It's hard to find good people. It's hard to train them, get them up to speed. And sort of where I'm going with that is what we've been sort of talking about all along. One of the changes that Kenny and I talk about is you almost can't go it alone now. So it gets back to the fact it's almost is what you know, but it's also who you know and who you can get up beyond your team, right? And so it's like one of the new currencies I think that we're trading in is trust, right? Because obviously, where Kenny and I grew up, it was like, this is our customer, we don't let anybody near them, right? Whatever. We don't. And now it's like you got to be able to look at you and say, I'm going to bring you in. It's like, you can come over and have dinner at my house, but you better not sleep with my wife type thing. You do that once and you're not getting invited to anybody's house for dinner anymore, right? So that's the way it works. So another integrator sort of dubbed it, we're in the integrity economy, but talk about Hepta's philosophy on, hey, if you invite us in to do work, how are you going to protect the people?
So we always go out about it as whoever our partnership is, right? Our partnerships, you can't always be out recreating new partnerships. If you break trust with one person, it's a very small industry and it travels fast. So we are always above board on the partnerships and make sure that it's whomever brought us in, or if it's a customer, then the customer comes first, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about delivering the right solutions with the right people.
No, I think it is, Jason. And listen, go to ControlTalk now. We've had Jason on numerous times. We'll continue to have him on. But for our integrators out there, you guys pretty much travel the globe. I know we've put you up with some guys in India that you're working with. Yeah. You travel the globe. But for an integrator out there, it's maybe thinking, well, how do I even engage these guys? Sort of what's the process? Do I pick the phone up? Do I call? Sort of walk them through. I'm an integrator that might have a job. I pick up the phone and I say, hey, Jason, I saw you on Control Trends. Yeah. Tell them what they can expect. What's going to happen?
So a lot of the time we'll have a initial kickoff meeting. Just pick up the phone or email us. We'll get that going. We'll have that kickoff meeting, review the technologies, review the whys of what's going on within your project, and kind of sometimes help adjust where that's going and really work through the full workflow of how it's going to roll out. And if it's not a fit, it's not a fit, and everybody goes on. But we have a lot of success where it moves forward, and we have a lot of successful projects.
To change gears a little bit, we know that our industry is already getting used to it. We see like Honeywell has the Global Engineering Services. Siemens also has a very similar program for their Talon partners. And so the concept now, it's a matter of trying it. And like you said, I think it's that first episode. There's a perceived expense that is a barrier, but I could say from our personal experiences that it's very, very reasonable and it's very, very worthy. But the other thing that you provide is more nuts and boltsy, and that's the panel shop, SHOPPE.
Yes.
But the concept you're doing there too is that many organizations, the way our business ebb and flows, you could be busy as a bee, for the spring, and then all of a sudden you hit a dry spot, and then all of a sudden there's work to be done, and so we see a reluctance on certain partners because they just don't have the bandwidth. But you also offer a service that you bag and tag products, put them in panels, basically UL panel shop worthy, and can send them to the job site. Tell us a little bit about that concept.
Yeah, so I just came out of a session where we were just talking about the technology or the people gap that we have within our industry, right? And across all the trades. So rather than having to ramp up your people when you're busy, you can utilize the panel shop, from graphics to parts and smarts, programming VAV zones, built-up air handlers, JACEs, every aspect. And like Kenny also mentioned, doing the full part or panel build-out, everything like that. We have full staff on our team to be able to take that on. And then you can use our staffing and our team as you expand if you're really busy, right? When you get busy,
seasonal,
yeah, when you get busy, you don't have time to bring on new people. Right. So use our talents to get you through those times, and then when you do get slow, it's not like you have to let somebody go or even hang on to them during that dry spell.
Well, I think too, if I look at our business as a distributor, our biggest cost is benefits and health insurance. It keeps going up. And so you start thinking about the overall cost of subbing it out. I mean, it winds up being a lot less expensive. And I'll say, man, there's trust on your guys' part too, because you're sending people that you've invested a lot of money in to work with a client, and you're sort of trusting that this integrator's not going to hire your folks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think what you guys are asking for is basically a chance.
Yeah, exactly. We're looking for that chance to come in, prove ourselves with companies like other SIs and stuff like that, right? If you're going to ramp up to where we are, it's an IT department, it's software development, it's years and years. Yeah, data scientists, right? It's a lot to bring on.
Too, and the data. Well, things are triggering in my mind because to your point, where you bring people to the project that needs help, and that big lift of an experienced programmer that comes in that could solve a problem in 3 or 4 hours that would take somebody a week to mull over and learn from. You also allow people to work along with you. In other words, the experience that contractor gets, it's almost like a training. It's a 2-for. You're getting the work done well, but your guy gets to see some aspects that can only come from either years of experience or additional training where you're not working because you're training. So I think that was some of the things we learned. And two, we have seen situations where now the agnostic style that you take, in other words, you don't say you've got to go this way, whatever. You can actually take anybody's Niagara product, OEM, and even like the Siemens, you can actually almost fulfill a branch role. And that was what I learned from you guys, that if your choice is the branch, a local branch, it's ornery to you and failing, because their staff, I don't think, some of the staffs that I've seen locally recently, they don't compare. Your staff actually has stronger capabilities and more experience than some of the local branches they're also almost looking to do this kind of outsourcing, because the rarity and scarcity of resources is becoming very, very paramount to people's ability to do business.
Yeah, and to be really honest, the branches are customers of ours. If it's a large integration project where they're normally used to integrating just their technology and there's some third-party stuff, that's where we come into play and we help them out as well, right? So, kind of we're here for anybody and don't judge.
Yeah, don't judge. All right, we've been talking to Jason Howell from Hepta Systems. Jason, how do folks get hold of you?
They can reach me at jc.hauk@heptasystems.com or just in general, info@heptasystems.com as well.
Great, man. Thanks so much for taking some time to talk with us, buddy.
Right.
We are with Zach Nestoff. Zach is from Contemporary Controls and the part where they're coming out with new products. Zach, tell us a little bit about Contemporary Controls and what you do.
Hey, Ken. So what we have here at Contemporary Controls, we deal a lot with BACnet and open control and open protocols. What we have here is a perfect example of an open hardware platform with open software. So basically what we have here is one of the most famous micro PCs, the Raspberry Pi. It's the most popular in the community. What we have here is a daughter board for the Raspberry Pi. Basically what this daughter board does is allows the Raspberry Pi, turns it into a BAS Pi. And what it does is allows it to do building automation signals.
So BAS stands for what?
Building automation system.
Building automation system. So Contemporary Controls has built a controls platform based on BAS. So you have BAS controller, BAS 20.
Exactly.
Controller.
Our whole line of products is, the BAS line of products is on building automation systems, and we also have ControlLink, which is more industrial.
Eric, one of the guys that's one of our favorites is George Thomas. Did you see George at the show yet?
I did. Yeah, I saw George, and George said, "Hey, man, you got to talk to the guy who knows." Our man Zach here. So, but talk about the significance of a Raspberry Pi and what you guys are able to do with that. How does that change building automation controls?
So the Raspberry Pi is an open hardware platform, and it really gives power to enthusiasts, and they can build and prototype all kinds of devices. So basically it was really easy to prototype a product based on the Raspberry Pi.
Sure.
So we decided to take a piece of our BAS control circuitry and actually offer a daughter board for the Raspberry Pi. Right. So what this daughter board allows is it actually enhances the capabilities of the Raspberry Pi to where it can do things it was never able to do before. So basically what we do here is we handle all the harsh signals on our universal inputs, such as 0 to 10 volts in. We have resistance, thermistor curves, pulse inputs, all the standard building automation system control signals.
Right.
So
go ahead.
So what we do is we have a Sedona for control in there, so we can do graphical programming.
Gotcha.
And we also have an open protocol in BACnet IP.
Okay. Well, I didn't mean to take the mic from you. I just wanted to remind the ControlTalk community what Contemporary Controls has done for the industry is they put up some of the most well-watched videos on the BACnet. What it is, there's an 8 series channel videos or different sections on BACnet.
You know, one of the things that's happened in our industry is we got a lot of people that are leaving, so there's kind of a shortage of qualified people. We're trying to attract younger people into the industry, so tell us about your story, if you don't mind. How did you get involved in the industry? How did you get involved with George Thomas?
So I graduated from engineering school at Broudy University in Chicago. Okay. And then Contemporary Controls was actually my first engineering job. Nice. And I liked it a lot, so basically I stuck around, and I really like the concept of Contemporary Controls with open protocols, open hardware, open software. So that's what attracted me, and I feel like we're a little bit changing things in the industry.
You know, it seems like it's a great industry. You know, we meet a lot of younger people. They graduate maybe with computer skills and they want to be in a cubicle farm. This business there's never a dull moment, is there?
That's true, yeah. I love the traveling. I love all the people and networking that we get to get around.
Cool. And you're from Bulgaria originally?
Yes, that's true.
So you know that there's a tango dancer from Bulgaria, Sofia Bulgaria.
Oh, really?
Broke my heart.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Sofia is actually the capital of Bulgaria, too, so that's a nice name.
She told me she was the capital of Bulgaria.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, there you go.
Nice.
All right, well, listen, for our listeners out there who want to know how to get hold of Contemporary Controls, give them the website.
Our website is ccontrols.com, and you can find out more about the BAS Pi at baspi.io.
Very, very good. Thanks so much, Zach. Appreciate you.
Thank
you know, if you've been following Control Trends for a while, you know that we're talking about the rate of change and how quickly things are changing in the industry. And we really feel like that the distributors, at least if the distributors are stepping up to the plate, can become one of the most valuable resources in the supply chain. Mike and Rob Swan from RSD Control on the West Coast. And Rob, what's your last name again?
Thompson.
Rob Thompson from RSD. RSD kind of dominates the West Coast in terms of innovative distributorship and what you guys do. So thanks for taking a few minutes to speak with us, guys.
No problem. Glad to be here.
So I think the first thing you want to do as a distributor, if you're going to stay up to speed, you got to be at events like this in Realcomm Ibicon. Agreed?
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is where it all happens. New products roll out, and this is where we get to see it and really kind of plan our next move. You know what I mean?
So, Mike, you and I have been around a long, long time in the industry, although you look like you've been around less than I have, but I've been pretty good authority. You're a lot older than me, but talk about from a distributor standpoint some of the changes you've seen along the way.
Well, I think there's a big change going on right now in distributors. Number one, the equipment is changing rapidly out in the field, with VRF and those kind of avenues and units coming with BACnet cards on them. So we're having to be far more innovative of how we're going to stay in business, and it's changing the whole business because of that.
Rob, one of the things that we're seeing a lot of our clients, our end user clients, talking even our integrators, there's so much business. So first of all, everybody's so busy, they really don't have time to research it. The changes are coming so fast and furious. We see a lot of users, they just get paralysis by analysis. So they're really looking for a trusted resource to be able to talk to. Sort of walk us through how you guys work with your clients and how you sort of advise them.
I think the big thing is to find how you get into their facilities. What do they need solutions for the most? And if you can find a solution for the easiest thing that there is, they're then going to turn to you for the harder things. And so we kind of get in the door that way, and from then on they trust that we know the solutions and we deliver.
I think one of the other things is that when a distributor is meeting with an owner, the distributor is coming in as an unbiased party.
Yes.
We have different brands. We're not particular to a particular brand like a contractor is. I mean, it could be the Distech contractor or whatever in that area, and that's all they've got. So we come in, we can look at what their facility is and see what brand is going to work best for them. And I think that's the other part that users really end up liking is that flexibility, and it builds trust immediately with them.
No, I know when you and I first got involved in the business, I mean, the game was you were the Honeywell guy or the Johnson guy or the Snyder guy, and that was the only line you had. You had a protected territory, right, and they would beat you up to grow that business in the territory. And, it's one of the realities that we all face now is you better be brand agnostic. You better have the customer's best interests at heart, and you better offer more than one option, because if you don't, you're going to be branded somebody. I'm trying to make my control system fit in your application. You lose credibility. That's right. And that's kind of been a hard pill for all of us to swallow, but it's one of the new realities. And I can sort of speak firsthand. I know Mike's on the West Coast. I have one of my really, really good friends on the West Coast, owns real estate out there. He called up and said, I got this guy who's telling me I need to do this, this, and this, and it kind of is not making sense, and he's not offering me other options. He says, this is the only thing. So let me have you talk to Mike, and you called the guy up. He called me back later. He goes, man, Mike Swan opened up a whole avenue for us. He was able to explain what they were talking about. He was able to explain why it would not work that way. He was able to give us 3 or 4 other alternatives. He was able to give us 3 or 4 contractors that could do the job. And, he was the best man at my wedding, but now he's going to name his kids after me. And I told him he should name them after you.
Well, and I think that's the other part that distributors bring to the picture is, we're involved in so many different projects, and we know what all the different controls out there do. And in that case, where somebody had given him a product was going to install a product that was never going to work, and we actually represent that product, but I was still able to tell the guy, this isn't going to work for you. So it's not about a sale. It's about a real solution, and because he's one of your best friends, I had to make sure that happened.
Well, you would have done that anyway, Mike, for sure.
Well, the thing too is because we represent so many brands, we work with a lot of specifying engineers, so they kind of trust us to know how the products work. We'll do the drawings and engineer the job for them, and they feel safe in knowing that the plans they produce and they put out are actually going to be, a viable solution. So that's a big part of it as well.
Right. No, well done. And I think the thing that sort of has gotten lost, the other thing I would say is more critical than anything else is the messaging and the sales, because at the end of the day, like I said earlier, nobody has time to really talk to anybody unless they have a problem, but at the end of the day, somebody has got to go create the market and make it happen. And I think that's also going to be a key component of what makes a distributor really, really good, is they can go out and create a market. You guys are great at it. RSD.com, I think, is the website. But you guys, talk about some of the things you do in terms of your website, in terms of the training you do, in terms of how you pull business through. Obviously, Rob mentioned the engineers and what you guys do with the engineers, but what else do you guys do?
Well, one of the things that we're now doing that's different from just months ago is we're getting involved in the equipment business now too as well. So I'm selling VAV boxes and the VAV controllers, and we're looking at getting into the actual air conditioning units, fan coils, that kind of stuff, and we've never done that before. So I think that's that's something else that you don't just jump into, but you got to look at how the business is changing and it's affecting our business, and you better look at doing beyond that, some more stuff. And like you said, talk about training. I mean, that is just constant with us. We do N4 certification training. We do, the Honeywell training. We do Johnson training. We do just about everything there is. You have to do that because I was in a session today and they were talking about the workforce, how bad the workforce is going to be lost in the next 10 years, and it's critical that we start teaching other people, what about this, how I'd be great in this business, and it is that way. And you can look at our training at www.rsdtotalcontrol.com. Go to training. That's where all the classes are.
That's great, man. Well, listen, guys, thanks so much, man. RSD Total Control. Check them out if you're on the West Coast. This probably should be your distributor. At least they're mine. Whenever I go, I don't buy controls in California often, but when I do, I prefer RSD Total Control.
There you go. Thanks, buddy.
For some, I'm here with Jack Berryhill, I guess the owner and founder of Active Logics.
I am, yes.
And I guess tritium is near and dear to your heart because.
Ex-tritium guy.
Ex-tritium guy.
Yeah. R2 days. That's
R2
right.
days.
Yeah, that's right.
So, listen, you guys are a great company, great reputation. For people who might not know Active Logics and what you guys do, tell them about your company.
Well, we're probably three things. We're a developer of our products, Periscope, InProtects, latest products that we released this year, and we're also a distributor. We distribute hardware for Honeywell, Distech, and various others. And we also provide some services as far as consultative type services to some larger end users.
It's very, very cool. Well, listen, we got a guy with a mustache who's going to show us about your new product.
Right.
But for our listeners might know, tell them about Periscope and what Periscope is.
Well, Periscope is a end user configurable dashboard that kind of the claim of fame for that product is usability for an end user. So they can kind of bake their own dashboard on the fly. It's very simple for a typical end user to do that themselves.
That's beautiful. I've seen it before. It almost looks like it's plug and play. You can customize it very, very easily. And, being able to see something is much easier than trying to, go through like an Excel table and figure out what's what, right?
Exactly. It leverages some the latest technology like haystack tagging and that type of thing. So.
Really cool. Well, I'm looking at you, I'm looking at Matt, looking at other people who work for your company. Yeah. It's obvious you guys and it shows with your Periscope, you guys put a big premium on how things look, because you guys got to be the coolest guys, with the exception of Greg Barnes in the whole industry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, except for Greg Barnes, exactly.
He's a handsome, he's just like everybody else, but you guys all have a unique look.
Right. And we like to bust on him.
There you go. Yeah. ActiveLogics.com?
That's right, ActiveLogics.com. Yep.
Jack Berryhill. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
A guest that is from the Tritium Vicon world, from Honeywell. In fact, Laura Cavett has been involved in all the OEMs when it comes to Tritium's security product, enterprise security. Welcome to the show, Laura.
Thank you.
All right, so then to start off.
Laura.
Fist bump. Oh, okay. Well, Laura has a great history, and we've had the opportunity to see Laura develop the security product, both Honeywell and Vicon, my personal experiences, but you also do a lot for the industry, and I just want to start off by saying you also won the PID award for the Control Trends. The Control Trends community voted for Laura Cavett, I believe it was 2014, as the Professional Integrity and Dedication Award for our industry. So congratulations on that. And what do you think of the show so far?
It's been great. We're really getting a lot of traction with the security product. Our big announcement is that it's on N4, going to N4, and we expect to release it this fall. We're in beta now, and we're really excited to show it.
Awesome. Well, Laura, what I want to talk about, because, one of the differentiators, I think, in any industry is the people, right? And you cannot meet anybody in our industry that has anything but positive things to say about you. And I guess my question for you, the gist of it is, we got people that are coming into the industry, and you want to be an impactful person in this industry. And I think from you, it's service, support, whatever's required. Speak if you would sort of about your mindset regarding, how you roll and in business.
Well, I guess what I really like to do is help people go farther with the product than they do, because I see so many times when the product's implemented and they're really only just scratching the surface of the capabilities. And I mean, this product can do so much more than most people even fathom. And if you can just kind of get somebody pushed a little bit farther every now and again,
sure.
I mean, you can really up the industry.
Well, I always had a special, passion for security, because I had a background where I was in the Air Force, and I was as is American Society of Industrial Security, I was a CPP and spent a lot of time. But I've watched the enterprise security tools and the appliances grow, and the integration that I really seriously believe that security is going to go from the back side of the spear, where the handle is, to the front, to the tip, because we're in a world where there's so much, just diabolic threats and whatever, and we have so much technology, but not much of the technology has been aimed at making us more secure in our environments, whether you're in a school, a hospital, a church, So we're seeing technologies. In fact, we see partners like Jackson Control, Roger Rebenak. We've had the opportunity to interview with him earlier on, but he was showing us new products, and they integrate directly to the Niagara platform.
Right.
So all of a sudden, we can hear an acoustic, we can have a discharge of a weapon, we have infrared sensor technology, or we have acoustic technology to pick that up and go right to a threat level management, a pre-written response to threats and dangers, where all the teachers suddenly get lights that notify them who's gone from a green condition to a red condition. So you've had a lot to do with that. You spent a lot of time, because I know I've called you up and said, Laura, we're in a pickle. How are we going to fix this? So what do you see? Is there a timeline where you think security is going to take more of a front stage than it is right now, or is it going to be dependent on disaster after disaster?
Well, it's just been moving along, and I think it's just going to keep moving. Security is a big piece of the building, and as you look at cybersecurity, if you don't have physical security around your data centers and your servers, it really doesn't matter if they have cybersecurity, because you have to keep people out of them and keep them secure. So, I mean, it's becoming more and more integrated into the building structure.
So it's not going away.
It's not going away.
Right.
So, Laura, I got a question, because you've seen lots of integrators, you supported with them, you work with them. So I want you to imagine that you are going to work for, and you're in charge of, a building automation contractor, okay? And basically they're saying, all right, Laura, we want you to come in, we want you to chart, we're great at building automation controls, chart forward the plan, and what are we going to do different, and how do we get there to take advantage of what's going on in the marketplace?
Well, as far as integration with security goes, I would definitely say don't just have two things on the same screen, because that's what a lot of people think of as integration. I mean, I've seen so many systems installed and they meet the spec, but they don't really interact with each other, and they're not really increasing the efficiency of the building. So, I mean, people really need to take that extra step once you get it just barely functional, and actually make things interact and be more efficient.
Well, Laura, there's a lot of good things in store. I know you're working on a lot of projects, and you probably can't tell us, because there's some sensitivity, but we're in it, and we have projects that are developing. It's very exciting that you have the resources and you have the people to support you to bring the security side of things up to the Niagara 4.6. Again, I mean, they keep moving the bar, huh? But what do you see as the next major Niagara move? You have something on the calendar. I don't know if you can share it with us or not, but what's coming out next?
Well, we are going to be going to a full HTML5 interface. Our next upcoming release will still have some Java in it for the video, but we're moving to be completely Java-free in the web UI. I don't know if you had a chance to stop by our booth and talk to our developer that was here, but she's actually developed some algorithms that count faces on video, and you can tell how many people are in an area by counting the faces with the camera.
Nice.
So I mean, that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, you don't need card readers even. You just need one camera, and you can tell how many people are in an area. So she's done some work with that, and we're looking at putting some new innovations into the product.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you very much, Laura.
Thank you.
How do people get hold of you, Laura?
Laura.Kevin@tritium.com.
And mobile phone number for after hours tech support. Just teasing.
555, yeah. Thank you.
We're with Brian Turner. Brian's one of the most innovative guys in the industry. Brian, you're with operational technology integrators now. So first of all, some of us know you guys from ControlTalk. And, you and Scott Cochran and some of the other guys are sort of reinventing how the industry's done. So tell our listeners a little bit about what Operational Technologies does.
Okay, so OTI is really a master system integrator. And we're a controls contractor when we need to be, and we're a security contractor when we need to be. But really the focus of our business is helping end users, owners, people who own lots of buildings or universities or healthcare, whatever it may be, really get the most out of the systems that are going in their building and making their buildings work, making their tenants and occupants comfortable and safe and secure. And that really starts with understanding what the goals of the end user are. And so that's a big part of what we do.
Well, I think it is, and I think, there's Kenny and I were at an EasyIO conference in England, and they made up a song, and, the rules have changed. And I think the rules have really changed. And what I'd like to do sort of in this segment a little bit, because I think to a large extent, guys like you and Scott Cochran, and what the market needed and changed to adapt to that. And so, like, for example, I know when you probably first got into business, and we first got into business, if you were the Honeywell guy, you were the Honeywell guy. If you were the Johnson guy or girl, you were the Johnson guy or girl. And you had a brand, and you went out and you pushed that brand. But that kind of doesn't work anymore, does it?
No, I mean, there still certainly are people out there that go to the market that way, and you're the XYZ company and that's what you do every single day. But as an integrator, you really can't be that. As an integrator, you are really selling your ability to provide a solution to the problem. And that means that now I might be either working with a contractor that's installing Honeywell or Allerton or ALC or ISMA or some of these other new products that are coming out, or I might be the contractor installing one of those systems, right? So, and it may not be a system I've ever installed before. And that's just the way of the world today. EasyIO is a perfect example of somebody who really has taken the approach of controls are a commodity, right? And it's not about you can only get this product at this one place and you can only get that product at that one place. It's really about making good products and providing integrators the tools needed to really provide these solutions. Whether it's integrating multiple systems or whether it's just providing one system that's really well developed and built out.
So one of the characteristics of a true master systems integrator, then, I'm hearing you say, is that it doesn't matter what brand it is, we're going to do what's best for the owner. We'll advise the owner. We might have something we like better, but at the end of the day, we're going to do what's best for the owner.
Absolutely. I mean, you come into an owner who has 75 buildings and 40 of them have XYZ brand. The last thing I'm going to do is say, well, I don't like that brand, so my first advice to you is to replace all those systems. That's really a non-starter for most opportunities, right?
Yeah. It was good back in the day.
Yeah. How's that working? Listen, to Eric's point, I think it was 2013 at a Control Trends Awards show. We recognized you and Scott Cochran because I think that was 5 years ago. You actually sensed something that was developing. And then we kind of caught on to the Realcomm IBCon and how you guys were so far ahead of the pack, knowing that instead of us trying to fit the square into this round peg and force a customer, the direction of influence changed from ours to the customer, from the customer to us. And you guys were, I think, the first two guys in the industry, but you in particular, because you came up with another product called Cadero, which was coupling different technologies. You really jumped on that IT concept because that's what was driving Train. And so we were good at operation technology, but tell us about your experience and your evolution from the operational technology side into IT and then mastering both of them.
Yeah, okay. So, really IT is absolutely critical in all of the networks, right? I mean, if you're not working with IT when you're designing the systems and also working with them to help them understand the needs, now in a lot of cases, IT is now part of your critical infrastructure, right? You're keeping the lights on, you're keeping the HVAC running. If you're a data center, you're keeping your data center cool. And so IT needs to be aware of all the needs, and they need to know what bandwidth they need to be able to supply. They need to know what kind of infrastructure they need to put in and redundancy. And so it's not a choice whether or not you want to work with IT anymore. You know, we know 10 years ago people would say, oh, I'm avoiding IT at all costs. I'm going to get my DSL line and we're just going to connect. Well, that's a big mistake today, and so we've kind of doubled down on that. We just acquired an IT managed services company. We really believe that in order to be a true system integrator, you have to have both sides of the house. You can't just be one anymore.
Well, Brian, and then you were on a committee or a presentation, a breakout session, I'm sorry, and the room was full. We couldn't even get in. We couldn't even get in because the people there were early. So that certainly signifies how important this concept is, and now it's really caught momentum. Tell us about that whole the panel and the people that were there, and what were the impacts?
Yeah, that was a good discussion. There's people from all walks that are in there trying to figure out how to be a better system integrator. We have companies that are traditional consulting engineers that are also doing commissioning and integration and programming now. You have companies that are traditionally IT, and maybe even consulting firms are moving into being true master system integrators. And then of course you have people that have grown up in our industry as controls contractors or maybe lighting contractors who are trying to figure this out. And then you've got vendors all over the place who are trying to figure out how their tools are easier to integrate and make it easier to integrate other products into their applications. So it's really a pretty exciting time, and everybody who is at this conference is interested in how to be a better integrator, right? And so I think that's one of the reasons our room was packed.
Yeah. So, another sort of trend that Kenny and I have been tracking, and it sort of gets back to Realcomm Ibicon. One of the things we're seeing from Realcomm and Ibicon is the end user is very, very educated. They know what they want. You better, if they ask for an open system, you better not say we're open just because we do BACnet, right? And so you got an educated consumer now, and because of that, and because they're demanding more, the rules have sort of changed a little bit too in terms of, it used to be, you knew your competitors where you just stomped the hell out of them, and that was that, right? I mean, we all fought over a piece of the pie, and it's not that doesn't exist anymore, but your mentality almost has to shift, if you will, to how can we make the pie bigger, because today I might be competing you, but together against you, tomorrow I might have to be working with you. So how have you guys navigated that water? Do you see that?
Oh yeah, I would say that's kind of our life every day. Yeah. We have 50 projects, and on 40 of them, we're not the only contractor on the project, and we're working with a lot of them, and sometimes we are only the integrator. I mean, and that's one of in order to really be a master system integrator, that means you have to be willing to give up maybe your core business, which on several projects. If you're a controls contractor and you want to put in your brand, but you really want to help your customer get to that end solution, it might mean that you're not going to win that project. You're going to win the master integration project. You're going to do the database, maybe you're going to do the network infrastructure, maybe you're going to do the GUI and the UX UI design, but you're not doing any of those individual systems in the building, right? And so for some companies, that's a challenge. They don't know how to monetize that. What they're so used to just, hey, I'm a controls contractor, I'm an access control contractor, whatever it happens to be. And if you can't break out of that mold and realize that you got to start working with all of these people, and when you're at these conferences and you see one of your competitors walk by, it's time to actually stop them, shake their hand, and get to talk to them, because chances are pretty good you're going to end up on a project with them.
Right. What do you think the potential is? Have we even grazed the surface of what's available, or what's out there that we could get a hold of in terms of business?
No, and so one of the things that we talk about a lot is sharing. We're always sharing ideas, and I several people have said, well, aren't you nervous that you're sharing your business strategy? No, I'm not nervous about that at all. I need owners, the first time I talk to them should not be the first time they hear about this concept. This concept has to become pervasive, right? So everybody expects we're going to have some integrator on the project that's going to be responsible for getting all of this stuff working well together. They're going to be part of the commissioning team. They're going to be part of the engineering and design team. We're going to be in meetings with architects and engineers before we ever even get bids, because really it's a big, consulting's a big part of system integration, right? And helping your owners select the right products, the right contractors, selecting contractors who maybe aren't system integrators. They're just really excellent controls contractors or video contractors, whatever it happens to be, and making sure that they understand the goals. And when they understand the goals, then they're going to do their job better, and it's going to be easier to integrate.
So the million-dollar question: have we made progress from the specification side of this industry? In other words, there seems to be, I think the master systems integrator's role, one of the primary roles is to make sure that everything will seamlessly integrate, because to this day we see specifications that lead to dead ends where the lighting guy was putting an arm bar around his network and he was not going to make it an open system, where the master systems integrator can vet each and every player in the specification and say, okay, well, yeah, we'll take this particular line or whatever, but you're going to put a backnet communication card or you're not going to come on the net, you're not going to allow. How much progress have we made in the actual granular specification world?
Next to zero. So, construction industry is very, very conservative. Everything that GC looks at when they start looking at an integrator, they look at change, and change equals risk. And so where we're having success today is largely design build or owner direct type projects, and obviously that will eventually lead to modification in the construction industry, because the more design build projects we do with more GCs and the more people that come up into those organizations that have been part of these types of projects, it will start to change. But it's almost a generational thing. We're going to have this going on for 5, 7, 10 years. I'm not sure what that timeline is, but the construction industry is just slow to change.
Yeah, good. I just thought it was interesting to summarize that, because like I say, this messaging has been going on, I'd say, roughly around 2012, 2013, we heard the first, the first shots across the bow that our industry was going through a pivot point or transition point or whatever you want to call it, inflection point. And now this Niagara Summit 2018, I think really and truly, we're sitting in the middle of the inception, just the change. You can feel change about. We're looking across this vendor area. We're seeing extraordinary products because the technology's there. We're seeing a platform, an integration platform that allows total integration. We're seeing cloud services, but also edge services where it makes sense to have whatever's best for you. And then we're seeing the master systems integrators that can really put it together at the 30,000 foot level, come down to the local level, make partners, make business model changes, and we should be seeing the traction, this whole market that's available. We should be getting greater accessibility, but it just seems like we're at a kind of, I don't want to say a retarded slow rate, but we don't seem to be moving as quickly as we should. Is there anything you could cite as the blowbacks or pushbacks that are causing this delay of adoption?
Well, I think some of it was technology, some of it was convergence of IoT, right? I mean, if you just go back to IBCon last year, a lot of the discussion was, is it a separate network? Are we IT or OT, right? So as the owners and the big end users really start to converge on the business side, really start to understand how they're approaching IT and OT and how they're approaching IoT and who's managing that in their organizations, that will start to push and trickle down. And it will also speed up the process of the construction industry, because now the owners will be dictating how these systems are going to work together, right? So I think we're actually going to speed up. I've been encouraged by some of the meetings I've been in with some pretty big end users, and IT is fully engaged in those meetings now. That wasn't that way a year ago, certainly not 3 years ago.
Good data. Everybody wants to make that data work well.
Well, there you go. Brian, how do people get hold of you?
You can reach me at otipro.com. You can call me on my cell phone, whatever you want to do.
And you'll probably be at Realcomm IBCon this year?
Absolutely, I'll be there. I'm on a couple panels speaking about networking and integration and all of that stuff.
Dude, I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. The industry's better having you in it, so thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, well, there's another week of Control Talk Now, your Smart Buildings videocast and podcast. For the week ending April 29th, 2018, it's almost May, right?
Right.
Almost May. So this is my daughter, Evelyn Grace, future co-host of Control Talk Now, the Smart Buildings videocast and podcast. If you like what she did, give her a thumbs up. But the man, myth, and legend and I will be heading to California next week, and we'll be broadcasting from out there. We can get a decent internet signal. But until then, remember, be bold, stay in control, stay relevant, and raise a little chaos. Say Indeed.
Indeed, but he's wrong.
Indeed. Who's wrong?
You're my music, but you tear me to pieces. So where does it come from? A scene that keeps playing on repeat, ignores the rule of thumb. Oh, where does it come from? Oh, where does it come from? All your emotions with your heart on your sleeve, it won't fade until you